So, today's presentation is regarding Sketchup 2018, which launched probably, I guess maybe been a couple weeks now. So really, it's a strong release, but it's not a lot of really. I wouldn't say it's got a ton of like good presentation options. So like we have some new section planes, we have some scaled drawings and layout, but honestly, a lot of what's happened is on the back end. So it's a lot of like opening up the APIs and expanding the reporting and advanced attributes. Some of the stuff that's going to make our lives a lot easier down the road, but right now isn't the most engaging presentation. But good news is we do have like two really good demos to do today. One is the brand new feature of section cuts. So now we can fill in our section cuts. And then the other one is like scaled drawings and layout. So that's kind of a cool new trick that could be handy. So we're going to go through that. But what I find is the bigger problem this time of year is when everybody's trying to migrate to 2018. And I get so many calls and so many questions regarding that and saying like, I really don't want to upgrade because I've got my SketchUp just the way it's supposed to be. And now there's a new release. And now it's going to mess all that up, and I got to spend another, I don't know, several months getting things dialed back in and getting everything updated. So I want to show you today, a few of the new features in SketchUp and Layout, but more importantly, how to get on to SketchUp 2018, make the jump, and make it quick so that you have all of your settings and your shortcuts and your plugins are all migrated at one time, and you're never in there kind of fishing around for that tool that you used to have. All right, so let's hop in here. Let me just check the chat panel again, make sure that we are running live. So someone says good here, Jim Wright, thank you. And yeah, you guys just go ahead and type questions into the chat panel. That's all good. I'll get back to that and answer those questions at the end. So let me fire up SketchUp 2018, and let's just see. First things first, this is where we start. Usually on a fresh install, you're kind of forced into a template. So we'll just choose our template, start using SketchUp. Let's see. So we have our new scale figure. Usually the first thing I do is is load up my template. But let's open a model. I'm going to open up from our Condoc Tools resources. And we're going to go with some models. Well, I like this garage new construction. This one's a pretty nice demonstration model. All right, so I'm going to save this to my desktop temp, and we'll call this our demo. All right, so let's do this. Let's add a section cut. That's probably the very first thing that is going to be exciting here. So if in SketchUp 2018, we can add a section cut, all right, like this, and then a section cut fill is a property of a style, all right? So like right now, my section cut, you see we do get these kind of different tags. If I go to my styles and hit edit and go to our, modeling settings, you can see that we have a section cut fill color, and then we can choose to check that on or not. So if you're using some old styles, you might see that these aren't checked on. So let's turn those on and check that out. There's our section cut fill. Remember, it's a property of a style, so like if I change that, I do need to update my style. All right, so that's pretty nice. I mean, I gotta say, this does work really well. I was kind of goofing around with trying to make it not work, and there's been some like the section cut fill plugin has been around for a while. Scalp's been around for a while, but I had good some success with those plugins, but ultimately it seemed I could find a way to make them not work. And so with this one, it seems to work pretty well. There's also, if I right-click on a section plane, I can choose Troubleshoot Section Fill. If I do that, if you have a problem, I guess what this is probably getting at, it's like circling all of these little areas. I don't know the technical way to explain it, but it seems like if there is a problem, this is going to call out where those problems are. So like, for instance, if you find that, the fill is like bleeding into the ceiling and you want it to be there, or something's not hatching right, I suppose this is how you would kind of, or at least a starting point. On that car, I mean, it's kind of amazing that like even that car gets filled in properly. So that's pretty impressive that it's working that well as I move that around. So anyways, section cut fills, that's really strong for us because it opens up a lot of opportunity in Condoc to make simpler stacked viewports. I think we would still use our multiple hatching styles, but if you're making a presentation plan, it kind of simplifies things and works pretty well. So that's cool. So that's a nice new feature. Without covering all the features, you can do an entity info on your section plane now. You can see that it has a symbol and a name, so there's a little bit more going on with your section planes. Let's see, what else do we have in SketchUp 2018? There's also, so advanced attributes. Let's, I'm just going to hide this for now. And let's just click on this chair. And so you can see now we have, let's see, here's our price, our size, our URL, status, owner. All of this stuff honestly could be done before with dynamic components, but now it's kind of packaged up in the entity info dialog. And what it tells me is that there's probably going to be some more BIM type functionality coming our way in SketchUp. They're starting to use the word BIM on their website. So that's kind of a welcomed improvement as well. So all right, so advanced attributes, along with that comes advanced reporting. I haven't really used this yet, but let's see, where is it? Generate report. And I know that there's probably a way to create a door schedule, and the times that I've messed with this, it just didn't do exactly what I wanted it to do, and I don't know. So we do have expanded reporting functionality. So the entire model, current selection, different attributes that you're adding. So there is some opportunity here to kind of get clever and create a report, but I haven't really worked too hard on that. So maybe you guys take a stab at it, see what happens. But in general, I'm pretty well taken care of on that. All right. So let's see. That's kind of the broad strokes in SketchUp. There's always some improvements on speed, and I know the outliner is faster, so that's encouraging too. But I think those are the broad strokes of what's going on in SketchUp 2018. And I gotta say, the section cut fills, that truly that makes it worth it for me alone. But we also have some cool stuff going on in layout. So let's take a look. So layout 2018. Let's fire that up. So again, in layout, the API has been expanded, and there's a bunch of kind of back-end stuff that's happening that's new, and so that's all exciting. And those all kind of help with making a new generation of plugins. So as that API is opening up and becoming more powerful. So basically, an API is all these commands that you're allowed to control through a Ruby script. So a plugin developer like Brightman Designs, we can create a plugin that controls layout now. And so we are working on that. So that's kind of exciting that we're going to see a new generation of plugins coming out with this layout API opening up. So let's do this. Let's go to File, New. And we'll hit our title block. I'm sorry, I'll go to one of my templates. I'm just going to open up, let's see, I've got a good 24 by 36 landscape template. And all right, so this is one of the biggest new features. And again, I mentioned that some of these new things, they don't present well because they're not these obvious buttons that do this cool new trick. But this is one of them, scale drawing. So you can make a scale drawing. All right, I'll click that. I can choose the scale. So I'll set my scale drawing at let's say 3/4 inch. And then we're good there, so it says click to start drawing at 3/4 inch. What this does is it just kind of switches up the math in layout. Rather than drawing on paper space, I'm now drawing at model space. So I can click here and I can draw a line. I can type in I want this to be 3 feet, enter. And see, it drew that 3 feet at a 1/4 inch scale. So we have the ability now to truly draft in layout. So we can do 5 feet, 10 feet. So I don't know. I mean, I would still very likely use, I would use draft mode, Condoc's draft mode, because number one, I'm working in SketchUp. All of my drafting and all of my modeling happens in SketchUp. but I could see where this would come in handy either to do some overlaying or I don't know that I would draft like an entire drawing in layouts yet. But anyway, it's kind of a nice improvement. I could also see where you could take these line weights and maybe you dial them up to make them like, I don't know, like 10 points thick and give them a different, like, darker line weight here. So now, like, maybe you're an interior designer and you're just kind of like sketching out rooms, you know, and you just want to like draw rooms and bedrooms and just lay out a space plan. Well, you can do that now in layout. And so maybe another option would be to go like into your scrapbooks, which I don't even know if I have any like, you know, furniture plan. Let's see. Some of our, I don't know if we have any planned scrapbooks loaded up right now, but basically you could do, I don't think there's any plans in here. So anyway, you could drop in like 2D cutouts or 2D diagrams of furniture and start laying it out all in layout, so you don't have to like work it all in SketchUp. So you know, that could be of value to some people too. All right, so along with this new scaled drawing comes this better grouping functionality. Basically, this drawing, the scaled drawing, it's kind of like a group. I have to double click in, and now I can edit it, right? So so anyways, that happens as well with like if I go in and drop a different like annotation scrapbook. Let's see. I'll throw in like this wall type key. All right, so if I look at this wall type key, now I can double click in and, you know, I can like use my line tool and like continue to draw in here. And I don't know how familiar you guys are with layout, but man, that was like, you had to like draw outside of a group and then you had to cut it and paste it into the group once it was made, or you had to ungroup it, draft, and then regroup. So now we've got this better like editing functionality inside of groups. And that is like a really, really nice change. So it's not like something that presents well. Maybe it's something that we would have expected a while ago, but anyway, it's here now and we're psyched about it. So let's see. What else? You can also lock entities. Yeah, lock. So I can lock an entity. That's kind of handy. So now this can't be moved or deleted. So that's some new functionality. We can unlock that. And what else do we have? Yeah, group edit, scaled drawings, and entity locking. So definitely check out Sketchup.com. You know, they've got they have a lot of a fair amount of documentation, and some other people have done some much more in-depth analysis of every new little thing. These are the ones that I'm excited about, and these are the ones that make a difference for Condoc and for like what I'm up to. So you know, that's kind of the broad strokes there. But the more important thing about SketchUp 2018 is how do you get into SketchUp 2018 without disrupting your entire office. It's a major challenge to migrate to new versions, and I want to show you a couple tricks on how to do that rather quickly. All right, so let's talk about you know, layout. We're not as concerned about. SketchUp is kind of where it all has to happen. So I'm going to hit File New or Control N for New, and so basically, you know, when I fire up SketchUp, we get this. Not that. We get a welcome to SketchUp like this. All right, so welcome to SketchUp. All right, so first thing I like to do is uncheck always show on startup. I really don't want to see that every single time. You might have to input your license in, so you want to do that. And then a template, they're going to make you choose a template. Now, this is, so again, on a fresh install, you have to choose a template. Something that's really frustrating me is that we've lost this ability to browse for a template. So anyways, to get around that, you'll say Start Using SketchUp, click there. All right, so that's fine. Now, if you are using Condoc, this is a big deal, is that in SketchUp 2018, they've again messed around with the back end of things, which is really cool because it opens up new functionality, but it disrupts our current functionality. And the way to get around that in SketchUp 2018, it's really easy. You just have to use our 2018 template. So I'm going to open a new file. So we'll open up a new template file. And I'm going to go to our Condoc Tools and version 3 Resources under Drawings. and we're going to go with Imperial. And you can see that now in your Condoc downloads, you do have a default template for 2018. If you're on 18, you got to use this one. I'll choose Open. Now, as soon as I open this template, I need to click on File, Save as Template. So File, and then choose not save as, not save a copy as, but save as template. Click that. I always rename these. I do like BD underscore condoc default template, and then I do a space dash space 2018, and then tab, and then we're going to save this, and you can see that it is set as our default template. All right, so this file is still open. I can see that. It's got the file name up in the top left corner. So if I click on File, New, now I've started a new template, fresh model, and we're not going to disrupt that template file. So I think we're in good shape there. All right, so that's how we get our template set up in 2018. And let's see. Now, the biggest deal is plugins, right? So let me go back to my desktop, and I'm going to open up SketchUp 2017. And let's just take a look at like all the plugins that I've kind of amassed and all that. So like I do keep my screen pretty clean. So I'll show you some of the drop downs that we have and which plugins I like to use. All right, let that open up. Remind me later. Okay. So we got a bunch of stuff in here. We've got our Condoc, we've got sketch effects going on. And then under extensions, you can see I've got a bunch of different extensions going on here. So what do? I don't want to have to like install each one of these extensions, right? It's very possible to just kind of copy everything and paste it into your 2018 folder. But a major challenge is to find your plugins folder. I've done this so many times that I could probably just do it again, no problem, and tell you where it's at. And then I'm going to show you some tricks on how to get there. So look at this file path. It's under C, Users, Mic or Owner. We'll do Owner. App Data, which is a hidden file, which means you have to go to View, Options, View, Hidden. I want to show hidden files. All right. If you're not showing hidden files, you won't find this target that I'm leading to. All right. So it's under C, Users, Owner, App Data, Roaming, SketchUp, SketchUp 2017, SketchUp Plugins. That is a massive look at that thing. And it's different for every machine because you're going to have to go to like your C username or owner or C users and then your name or owner. There's just so many opportunities for error, ways to get lost in there and to not find this plugin folder. And I got to tell you, it's I've been working with a gentleman on a Mac too, and I had a heck of a time finding his plugin folder. So hopefully some of these tips will translate, especially the Ruby stuff I'm going to show you. All right, so this is our plugins folder. All right, now another way to find this plugins folder is, let's see, we've got a tip here from Tig on Sketchucation's forums. All right, so somebody asked where's the plugin folder, and Tig said just take this string of text and paste it into the Ruby console. So I'm going to copy that. And then I'm going to go back into SketchUp, and I'm going to go to Window, Ruby Console. All right, and then I'm going to paste it, Control V, and hit Enter. And look what it returned. It returned that ridiculous file path. All right, so I can copy this. So Control C, go back into, let's see, I'll go back to my plugins folder. I'll just go to my desktop now. And I can click in this, this address bar here and paste it. So that's it. C, users, owner, app data, blah, blah, blah. Hit enter. It takes me right to my plugins folder. All right, so that's pretty handy, right? Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to do a mass copy. I'm just going to take all of these. I'm going to hit Control A, Control C, and then I'm going to go back up to SketchUp. We're going to go into 2018, SketchUp, Plugins. All right, so in here, this is our plugins folder in 2018. I can tell you that every time you start SketchUp, it like loads this kind of standard group of plugins back in. All right, so I'm just going to right click and choose paste, and let's just, you know, at this point, like you're just hoping that you've kept things up to date. You do want to still manage your plugins and always look for the latest and greatest, and uninstall and clean things out. But anyway, sometimes that's tricky to do, so we'll see what happens here as I copy everything over. All right, so now it's asking me if I want to replace. We can replace those. Those are the ones I was saying that are created every single time. All right, so now everything is loaded up in there, and we'll leave this one open. You don't always have to close these windows. I'm just going to minimize it. All right, and this is 17. Over in 18, though, here's 18. Check it out. I pasted all of those plugins into my 2018 folder, but I still don't get my extensions window or drop down. The reason is that when you start up SketchUp, that's when it loads your plugins. So I close SketchUp and reopen 2018, and now it's going to go look in that plugins folder, and it's going to start loading up a bunch of plugins. All right, let's see what the Ruby console comes up with, if it's going to give me a bunch of errors or what. Okay, so you can see that, you know, Scalp is having an issue there. Estimator's asking me for a license, and here's some load errors. Okay, so if you see this stuff, don't panic. I mean, all it means is it didn't load. So you can see that like Scalp is not doing anything. Let's see what else. I'm just gonna kind of scroll through these. So there's not that many. Estimator's been disabled. I'll get that one back up and running. So anyways, so it looks like, you know, Scalp has a new version that's compatible with 2018. So maybe what I would do is I would go in here and I would just delete Scalp out of here. So if I like type in SK, I can find Scalp and hit delete. It's not going to let me do that. So let's see what happens here. We'll delete our Scalp. There it goes. And then let's see if we have any other scalp.rb. And let's see. I think I had something else. Delete that. Delete that. And all right, so let's fire up SketchUp again. So we'll go with SketchUp 18. So this is how I typically manage my extensions. I mean, you can go through the window drop-down, extension manager, and like uninstall things and all that. But I don't know. It just, there's something about it I don't trust. Like it doesn't. I don't feel like I'm actually removing things, and I guess I've never tested that. But anyways, I prefer to just manage my plugins the old way. All right, so check that out. I got no load errors. So it was only Scalp that was not loading properly, and that was because it was the old version, and I know they do have a new version out there. So if you're on Scalp, definitely check those guys out. So look at all these. Just like that, I've got all of my tools back into SketchUp. All right. So I loaded all of these guys without going to Window, Extension Manager, Install Extension, find the RBZ, load it. I simply copied it and pasted it. That is way easier than loading these one at a time. So me personally, I just kill all these toolbars. I only open them when I need them. So we'll just get rid of all these guys. And at that point, you know, you will have to go in and you'll have to make sure that you get like your licensing set up again. But you know, all that stuff, it's easy enough. You just kind of, you should be like in touch with those plugins anyway, you know, have an account. So let's see, if we go to, let's open up our Condoc tools. Let me see if we got our license in there. Yeah, our license carried over, so that's all good. All right, so let me think for just a moment. What else do you need to know about 2018? We do have another plugin. We have this little plugin, it's called Plugin Pop-Up. If I go to Window Extension Manager and go to Install Extension, I'll go to my resources, and we've got our plugins. And then this one, this is where I keep all of them. All right, so we've got plugin pop-up. I'll say open. All right, so we just installed a plugin, right? This one, if I go to extensions and go to plugin pop-up, it opens the folder. This one's pointing at 2014, so I could easily go to 2018. So maybe we'll have to update that plugin and we'll throw that on there, but that's another option. Truth is, it's easy enough to find it. Just, use these other ones rather than encouraging you to install a plugin and mess with all that. So let's see. So we've got our template. We've got the other thing we want is our shortcuts. All right, so that's the last piece of this. All right, so let's go back to 17. So in SketchUp 2017, this is where I've got all of my shortcuts already all set up. All right, so I'll go to Window, Preferences. On a Mac, that should be under SketchUp Preferences. We'll go to our shortcuts and click on Export. All right, I'm going to save this. I always keep mine in my Resources folder under Miscellaneous. And you can see here I actually have two of them. I'm just going to overwrite our preferences. We want to keep our, we're just going to do our, we'll do our file locations because we're on the same machine. I'll say OK and export. So we're going to replace that. All right, so now I go back into 2018. So here's our 2018, and I go and do the same thing under Window Preferences. On Shortcuts, I can choose Import. Import, go back to our Dropbox, Brightman Designs, Resources, which Resources holds everything that we're using and sharing amongst the team. Miscellaneous, Preferences, and choose, let's see, we are going to import like that. All right. So now all of my keyboard shortcuts, I've got this weird mixture of like CAD and Photoshop and SketchUp, and so my space bar is the pan tool. Q is rectangle. I don't know why, but it's been that way for 10 years. It's just the way I like it. So make sure that you set up your keyboard shortcuts. That'll make you faster, and export them out and import them back into your new version. So I guess what I'm getting at with this presentation today is don't be afraid of the new version. It really is. You're always going to hit a few road bumps, or a few bumps in the road, but it's just always worth being on the latest and greatest. Because if you let it lag for 1 year, then you're like another year behind and another year. And so it's just, I make it a point to always stay up on the software. It's a good idea. So don't hesitate to jump to 2018. Use these tips to do it quickly, and I think you'll be all right.